I'm going to step aside. I want to bring up Mr. Randy Bird to get this agent attraction panel coming up. Give him a warm
Let's do it. Woo! Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Brent. We got to play golf today, and I literally got the socks beat right off of me. Those were up to here when I started golfing. And it was a bad day. But you know what? These guys are good. They're good, man. We had a good day. And I also didn't get to shower before I came in here. So if I start pointing like this, I'd hide if I were you in the front row. I did what I could to make it sound better, but right? But I'm really excited to be here today. I'm honored that Don and the crew asked me to come up and lead the panel today. And so we're gonna get into agent attraction. We're gonna get into agent attraction hard. We're gonna go fast. I'd suggest you take notes. And we're going to bring up people that have just proven massive success in this particular category. There's a lot to learn today. I see a lot of faces in the crowd that I know have a fire in your belly. Blake from Arizona, it's like, Jake from State Farm. Blake from Arizona. But you're going to really, really enjoy this. And then after we're done with this, we're going to get even a little more tactical with you and give some tactical things from it. But super excited to bring the panel up. Let's start with Mr. Don Yoakum. Come on up, baby. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, get a little bio on themselves as we go. But this guy, I'll tell you what, my business changed, my life changed the day that we had lunch in Spring Hill Golf Course in Albany, Oregon. And he had been talked to by many, many agents before, Brent being one of them. Loser! Oh. But, it's all timing. You're going to hear it today. It's all about timing, and the time was right. And this guy owned 30 Keller Williams offices, built 10 from the ground up, one of the most profitable in the nation, if not the world, the country. And so really, really a treat for that. Mr. Amir, would you come up and join us, please? Yeah. Come on, baby. Love you, brother. Again, Amir's got hundreds and hundreds of agents in his organization. Everybody here is making six figures, multiple six figures in passive residual income. Some things that we want to stay away from language-wise, but we're a closed family here today, right? So I could be straight with you, okay? Andrew Avalos, come up and join us, please. I've got to know Andrew over the years, and he's a stud. He's not even in our organization, but, that's the EXP family. All ships rise with a rising tide. So love you, brother. Appreciate it. Steve Alves, come up and join us, buddy. Yeah, right? Yeah, hey, we're playing together tomorrow, so I need help, brother. I need help, man. If any golfers in the crowd, anybody that can help me tomorrow, they took the shirt off my back, literally. Oh, please don't talk about Hadley. Where is Hadley? He's still kind of sulking. Look at his shoulders are down. This is a real thing. It's like pain and suffering when we play golf together. These groups started as a golf trip. True story. Brent started this as a golf trip, and then 18 people showed up, and then 60 showed up, and then 180, and all of a sudden we had 5,000 people, at an event. Thank you, Brent, for all you do. I love you, brother. Thank you for everything you've done. Little bit about Steve Alves. Steve Alves only got like a small handful of people in EXP. You'll wonder why he's on stage, and it's because he's brand new at EXP. And he was an absolute legend, a superstar, the number one independent brokerage in Oregon, number one everything across the board. He was the number one guy that drove all that, personally added roughly how many agents to that organization? 100 personally, but involved into hundreds, right? Evolved into hundreds. So, yeah.
When I joined EXP, one of the things that I wanted to do was ultimately become a leader of leaders. And so my idea for that was to identify people in major markets that had had a lot of success. And so I went to a gentleman, Michael Sampson with WFG Title, and I said, hey, Michael, in the Portland metro market in the last 7 years, who would you say has been most successful in building an organization? And he goes, well, that'd be Steve Alves. And so I cold called Steve. And so it was like ring, ring, ring. And Steve says, hi. I said, hey, Steve, we have a mutual acquaintance in Michael Sampson, and he tells me that you have built the most successful brokerage in Portland metro market. And so I just wanted to reach out, love to take you to lunch. And Steve, being Steve, was gracious enough to accept that invitation. And then it only took me like 3.5 years to recruit him.
5 years. It was like, I remember going to lunch with him. It was years and years and years ago. Steve, were you ready back then? Obviously not, right?
I was already making a residual income that was probably more than you guys.
Wow. No, he's a baller. And so, but the point with this is I want you all to understand, I have 5 people in my organization that are all legitimately rock stars. 3 years is the youngest that it took me to bring them over to the organization. I just want you to understand that today, okay? Last but certainly not least, Matthew Stewart, come on up and join us, buddy. He's the one wearing my socks, or he should be. He shot a 77 today on Grizzly, which is a tough course. He's never played it before. He looked like a PGA pro today, and it was really, really fun to watch. Not really. But we had a blast, and he literally, Matthew, congratulations. You crushed it today, crushed it. It's fun to watch when golf comes together. But Matthew just broke 200 agents in his organization, which puts us into the highest level of operational, leadership in the company, the beta group. It was fun to welcome you into that and watch your success. So what I've done, I put some questions together for the panel today. I'm going to go rapid fire today, guys, okay? With all due respect, not a 7-minute answer. I'm looking for rapid fire. If you want to elaborate, do so. But I think we've got about 8 or 9 questions to get through. And I want the audience to feel and understand what those things mean, because I think they'll reach people in different levels, right? So with that, let's get partying. All right, number 1. What is agent attraction to you, Don? And we'll go down the line.
It's the opportunity to have the benefits of brokerage ownership without the broker liability and capital risk, and be able to have a model that scales as far as I want to take it.
Love that. Love the word scale, leverage, all those pieces, right? Amir, what does agent attraction mean to you?
Well, I own my brokerage, so I had my agent attraction myself before, but only I was taking a liability, but I was taking a residual income too. So now agent attraction in the EXP offers me the opportunity to help other agents to do the same what I was able to do only as a broker owner.
Love that. Andrew, same question. What does agent attraction mean to you?
So I too had a real estate brokerage before joining EXP, and when I saw the model, I realized that I was the only one benefiting from the independent brokerage model, and I wanted to level up every agent that was in my brokerage, and this opportunity, this model gives me the ability to go out and share this with others so that they can level themselves up.
Love it. Steve, agent attraction, what is it? You're one of the top guys in the country, most likely. What is it to you?
So for me, it was kind of a game, and I sort of made it my hobby, and it was to go out and collect friends and money. And it really works that way. I go out and I used to meet people all the time at open houses and networking events, and just go out and have fun with people and introduce a company that I thought at the time was the best company out there for them and their family. And sometimes I get pushback, sometimes people were really open to it, but I think if you just stand firm and you're confident in what you're doing and where you're at, and you know where you're at is the best place out there, you can do this, and you just have to believe it.
I have this.
Matthew's got a laugh.
Yeah, so I love that answer. You said friends and money. Is that what you said? Collect friends and money. That's actually kind of what my answer was going to be in a sense, but I like how you buttoned it up. Lexi and I love to travel. I want to, get her out of trading time for money in a job. So when I saw this, I went, this is an opportunity to have leverage in our lives and get off the transactional treadmill. I've been doing it since I was 20 years old. I'm 47 now. Parents been, in a long time. And so I saw them going like crazy and all this stuff and just trading time for money and no real exit strategy. So for me, I saw it as an exit strategy to get free. And I've always been searching for freedom where you don't have to worry about money anymore and you can just have money and time. And then you get to do all kinds of fun stuff and pour into others and all that. So At first, it was more personal, and then now as we've grown and looking and bringing on other leaders, it's like, okay, now I want to help as many other people get the same. And that would be the friends and all over the world and being able to travel and, you know, like go into every city and you got friends there, you know, that you're just loving on. It's great.
I love it. Thank you, Matthew. So real quick, show of hands, if you had to do a listing appointment in 1 hour and you knew the area, right? We're all professional realtors. Who can go nail a listing appointment in 1 hour if they had to? Almost the whole room, okay? Now, be honest with yourself. Who could nail talking to a $100 million producer in an hour? You see what we're doing with her? Right? We've got 6 or 7 people in the room, almost the whole panel. This is where we want to help you today. This is where we want to help you. Of course, we know how to translate language and do CMAs and all those things because we've done it over and over and over. But many of you, this is the first time you've done agent attraction. So it's completely different, right? So my next question plays into that. Let's start with Matthew and work down this way. Matthew, how does the sales skill set translate to agent attraction?
You know, I actually edified Don Yoakum on this because he had said, you know, really, and he's very analytical and just this brilliant mind, right? I always edify that. It's very true. I've been with him 20-something years. And he said, really, the skill set is very similar to nailing a luxury listing. If you can get to where you can land a luxury listing, you can agent attract, right? So when I go and talk to agents that are doing large production or whatever, there's a common theme. A lot of them are running on that transactional treadmill, don't have an exit strategy. They haven't even thought it because they're just so busy, head down. And like, I was talking to an agent who's the #1 producer in their whole state, right? Does the most luxury and all this. And the thing that got her that she could not get rid of was she didn't have an exit strategy. And she'd never really thought about it. And I just kind of hit her straight on. And she's like, yeah, I don't. Like, you know, and she's like, I need to really take a look at this, you know, so.
Love it. Steve.
So I think for me, I've been selling a long time. About 4 years ago, I was able to not sell anymore because I had built another rev share business. And the fortune in referring agents, I think, is in the follow-up, just as it is in real estate. I mean, I really stay on people. I follow up with them, but in a nice way. I don't bug them. I don't give them a hard time. I just, I share like the video that you guys were talking about. You guys sent that to me and I sent it out to about 50, 60 people. I just get it out there and I get it in front of people and then it gives me a reason to call them and to talk to them about it and to help them understand that, you know, where I went to after being with, you know, the Remaxes, the Keller Williams. I owned a Keller Williams and my last company, which was just a great company. I loved it there, but it didn't have the 3 aspects and the 3 pillars of, you know, the stocks and the rev share and, you know, like health insurance. It's really cool stuff. And these are great things to promote. And I think people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And to me, that's like my core. And I think that people really got that because my goal was just to sponsor 1 person a month at my last company. And I helped set up this rev share. It was just paid on 4 levels, 10% per level. And I did that over 8 years and it turned into almost 400 people and about 100.5 every year in residual income. And I kind of retired. My wife and I moved to Arizona, and I started playing golf every day. And I sort of said, you know, I'm done. But this opportunity came around, and my wife kicked my butt, and she made me go to Cabo. And I said, I got to get off the couch. I got to quit playing so much golf and get back into it. And that's what we're doing.
That's Steve's beautiful wife, Jamie, by the way. Let's give her a round of applause. We got Jamie. We knew Steve was coming. So, Andrew, how do you believe the sales language translates to agent attraction, or does it?
It absolutely does. I think the sales language in real estate and agent attraction is really the same. I mean, if we were to go to a multi-million-dollar listing, we're not going to walk into the listing and start talking about the things that are important to us. We're going to find out what's important to the client, to the seller.
Hold on. Repeat that.
So if we were to go to a multi-million-dollar listing, we are not going to go there to talk about ourselves, what's on our mind, what we think. We're going to go and we are going to get to know that client.
Now translate to that to attraction.
So it's the same thing. A multi-million-dollar agent, we're going to contact that agent and we're going to find out what's near and dear to their heart, what they like, what they dislike, what their situation is, and then we are going to fill in those gaps. And we are going to show them the way that this model can actually benefit them. So as we would, that we could benefit a client as a listing agent for them to be the one that they would select to list the home. I think when we get fixated on ourselves and we start to focus on what's important to us, whether we're talking to a client or someone in a agent attraction, it's a complete fail, right? So it's not about us, it's all about them. And if once we keep that in mind, it doesn't really matter, and it can take the pressure off of us.
I love the answer. You took words right out of my mouth. Listen, if you can do 80-20 principle, you've heard of the 80-20 principle, right? When you call a prospect, if you're the one talking 80% and you're EXP-ing on them, right? Don't EXP on them. If you're the one talking 80% of the time, you've lost, right? So try to ask questions that are going to encourage and inspire them to answer and talk about things and open up. And if you get off a call 5 minutes or 30 minutes and they talked 80% of the time, you talk 20% of the time, I guarantee you they get off the call and go, that was a cool dude or chick. Every time. All right? So same question, Amir.
Sales, language, pure marketing, right? So the same like any marketing. Nike is doing marketing, they think what the end users want. If I go to sellers and buyers, you put yourself in the other person's shoes. Probably works for dating too. I haven't been dating for a long time. I'm married for 22 years, but even if you're dating, you have to put in the other person's shoes. So if you go after sellers, what's important for sellers? Now for the agents, the same. Same what Andrew just said. So they don't care about myself, Tom, Don, Randy, or Brent. They don't care. They care about themselves, their family, and what's there for them. Period. That's only one problem what you have to solve. What's there for them and how you can help them, not otherwise. I know from my experience, because the 12, 13 agents pitched EXP to me before I joined, including one broker in El Grove. I'm not going to mention her name. I was recruiting for my company. She came to my office and she was trying to recruit me for her company, EXP. And I said, hypothetically saying, if I joined today with you, how can you help me? I had 28 agents at the time. She had 7, 8. She was closing 20 transactions. I was closing 50 to 70. And I said, if I join today, it looks like I will be helping you instead you helping me. I didn't join her company. She didn't join my company either. Until I had, I believe in destiny, so you cannot escape the destiny. Until I have one transaction with Tom. And then he didn't mention EXP to me at all, until we'll close the transaction. And we closed the transaction. He called, congratulated on the transaction, and asked, have you heard about EXP? I said, Tom, I heard about EXP a million times, and I'm not interested. But let's still meet. And I respected the man. I had multiple transactions over the last 15, 16 years. I never met him. I went there to meet with him in person. And he did bring big guns. Don flew from Portland. So I own my brokerage. My goal was 500 agents. 500 agents to build my brokerage to the next level and sell to non-franchise brokerage, Intero or Remax or whoever, right? And but I was not happy. I had the liability, I have expenses, I have all this to deal with. And 12, 13 agents, they pitched EXP to me. They didn't solve my problem. They were trying to solve their problem to increase their revenue share. Don talked to in my language. I'm not talking about Bosnian language. I'm talking about brokerage language, brokers to brokers. And he actually hit right where to solving my problems, which how to grow bigger brokerage, how to reduce liability, and how to make more money. And he was even offering help to help me with that, right? Remember, so agents don't care about you, Tom, Don, Randy, Brent, nobody. They care about themselves, their family, their kids, and everything else. If you solve that problem, you win, and they win. Woo!
And I thought I was only the 11th. Anyway, so it's been said, first of all, we've got to learn what's important to the people that we're talking to, right? That's true of listings, that's true of attraction. And what I have found in that is that the ability to list a property is the ability to articulate an intangible value proposition. At a listing, it's pretty much selling yourself and your ability to market that property and serve that client. In attraction, You also are articulating an intangible value proposition, but it's the exact same skill set. What's so cool, though, about our attraction model is that we're not one person listing a property. We're a team of 7, right? So when each person comes into this company, they vest into 7 relationships with people that have a vested interest in their success. And so, A, if you're interested in them, B, if you can articulate an intangible value proposition, and 3, you help them to understand that you've got a team that is interested in helping them, then it becomes a really, well, it becomes a no-brainer, right, Amir?
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks, give it up, give it up. Okay, again, real quick, let's rapid fire start with you, Don. How did you overcome the fear of rejection in this new arena? Now, you personally have been doing this a long time, so you might have to think back a little bit to your KW days. You were a top recruiter there as well, but let the people know. I think this is one of those things that could really impact you. You know, how did they overcome this fear of rejection? Because that's what we all suffer from, and if you don't, you're lying, right? That's just what it is. It's fear of rejection, fear of outcome, all those things. So how do you believe that you were able to overcome that fear of rejection?
Well, first bit of advice would be to read the book, The 4 Agreements.
Amen. I love that.
Right? The 4 Agreements. Do not take it personally. Okay? It's really not about you. But in terms of how to overcome it, I don't know that you ever overcome fear. I think you just choose to face the fear, right? I think courage is not an absence of fear, but it's that willingness to go ahead in the presence of it, right? So I haven't been able to get rid of my fear completely, but I choose to do it anyway because it's important enough to me and to my family and to the people that I work with, and that's more important than letting my fear stop me.
Thank you, Amir.
I have only a few minutes, right? It's like any other fear. You have to get outside of your comfort zone, outside of your box. We inside this box, we feel very comfortable closing 20, 30, 40 transactions, making good money. I don't need to do anything else. But you have to face the fear. Does anybody have a fear of public speaking? Raise the hand. Come up here. Can you tell us about more? No, just kidding. So if you have a fear of public speaking, I would highly recommend join Toastmasters. Just join Toastmasters. In 1 year, you will be speaking. In 1 year. So I had a fear of sharks, and then this year I pushed myself out of my comfort zone on the health side, and I trained for half Ironman. I turned 50 and just completed not 1 but 2 half Ironmans. But last half Ironman was inside the Santa Cruz around the pier where the white shark sightings are. And I was very afraid. Right? But you face the fear. The same here with the agent attractions. A lot of people, I'm not a recruiter. Yes, correct. You are not recruiter. You are attractor. I'm not recruiting. I'm attracting, and I'm using my team. And you surround, and you have your team. You have 7 people above you. So I'm leveraging Tom, Don, Randy, Brent. Everybody has different strengths than I do. And that's the reason, that's why one of the strongest leg in the EXP. You don't want basketball team with 5 Kobe Bryants. You're gonna lose. Doesn't matter who you're going to play against. Yeah, you're going to lose with 5 Kobe Bryants. You need a Shaq, you need a center, you need point guard. You don't want 11 Cristiano Ronaldos. You need goalie as well. So we have everybody with this. Give me a few seconds. I will explain about team. So if I meet the agent, right? So I'm trying to attract. I'm not pitching myself. If I see first what is there for them, how to solve their problem. If he's big in the coaching, I'll pitch the number 1 Tom Ferry coach, and I set up call with Randy. If it's a agent who is closing 200 transactions in Miami, I'm closing 50 to 70 only. I cannot recruit that agent. I'm set up team call with the number 1 Keller Williams agent who was closing 500 to 700 transactions, and a call with Don if it's a broker, or call with Brent. Brent was on my call with 2 brokers in Croatia. We were trying to open a whole country. I'm not going to use the big guns to recruit agent in Sacramento who is closing 20 transactions. I'm going to use Brent for others. Thank you.
I think it's this conviction. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. His fear of rejection is overcome by conviction. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Well done. Okay.
Well, thank you, Amir. I'll keep my down to,
He would have gone till midnight.
I'll keep my
He's
down
like,
to 20.
you don't understand. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. And what was the question again? That's conviction. That's in his heart.
You asked me an answer, right?
No, I love it.
Love
Thank
it.
you.
So let me ask you, I would assume that everyone in this room was brand new at real estate at one point in time. Right out of real estate school, brand new licensee, but did fear stop you from listing your first home or representing your first buyer? You just went out and did it, right? So the same thing with agent attraction is you got to just go out and do it. And I bet you weren't good when you first represented your first buyer, and you certainly weren't good when you represented your first seller. So taking a look at that and realizing that we all have to start somewhere, and the more that you do something, the better we get. Change happens daily, right? Change doesn't happen overnight. It happens every single day. And the fact of the matter is, we face rejection every single day. When we go out and want to talk to somebody that we're interested in buying, they might tell us no. We go to a listing appointment, they may tell us no. But if we lived our lives in fear, we would accomplish absolutely nothing. We would deprive ourselves of everything. So,
Andrew, what's one tool you use to get over the fear of rejection, or do you have one?
you know, I just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. And that's really what it comes down to. Just keep picking up the phone because someone's going to say yes eventually, right? And if you allow this to get into your head, you're going to be in your head, and when you're in your head, you're dead. So just keep going.
Love it.
All right, so fear of rejection. For me, there really wasn't much. I've done my referring and recruiting a different way. In the Northwest, where I was from for 25 years, we used to have a Tuesday tour, and I would just put it in my schedule around my real estate business where I'd go on tour every single Tuesday from about 10 to 2. My goal was to talk to 6 to 8 agents, and out of those 6 to 8 agents, I'd go out, meet them at their open house, ask them about the home, and ask them about them. I have this thing in my, it's called, form, and family, occupation, recreation. We know what they do, and then the M for me was, what's the magic? What are these people kind of looking for? And if you can get past the point to where they think you're trying to get something from them, and you have something for them that's better than where they're currently at, then you can kind of get them to open up. And subconsciously, I would spend probably 5 to 10 minutes at these brokers' opens, and I'd get to know these people. And half the time I wouldn't know them, but I've been a broker in the Northwest for a long time, and a lot of agents knew me. And after I'd been with my company for a while, they knew kind of what I was there for. But I would poke fun at them. I would have a good time. Here comes Steve the recruiter. Here comes Steve the recruiter. And to this day, I have a dozen people in the Northwest that are still just on that treadmill. And I feel so sorry for them because some of these people are in their 60s and 70s. And I think to myself, and a couple agents in particular that used to just give me such a hard time, but you know what, I would go in with conviction and I would say, you really need to look at what I'm doing, because in a few years, I'm not going to have to do this anymore, and you're going to continue to do this the rest of your, they say real estate agents, we sell our last deal, and then we step into the coffin, right? You ever heard that saying? Yeah. It's so true for like 95% of real estate brokers. So I think that once you kind of get to a point to where you're helping agents and you're not like out to get something from them, it makes all the difference, and it changes your whole mindset. And if you can come across with conviction, which for myself it was more of a relaxed intensity. I never would get like in somebody's face, or if somebody didn't want to hear what we had to offer, I would wish them the best. God bless you, and I'd be on my way. But more often than not, people would be open to it, and I would follow up with them. And most brokers took me, a month, 2 months, 5, 6 months, years. One of my top recruits at my last company, it was about 3 years to recruit this lady, and we're really good friends right now. And she's with my previous company, but I think in a year or so she'll be here. But I don't think that I'm going to do it tomorrow or next week or next month. I mean, I'm building something for the next 5 to 10 years that's going to be passed on to my kids. So that's the exciting part for me.
I love it. And Steve's superpower is listening. He is a master at listening. Yeah, 2 ears, 1 mouth. If you've sat with him over the last couple of days, I watched him last night at dinner, and he was talking to, I think it was Doug or something, and he was just so intently staring at Doug and looking in his eyes and listening. I ain't got that juice. I struggle. I do my best, but I'm like, really? Sorry, your daughter did what? I literally, it's one of my greatest struggles, right? It's something, a weakness that I understand, so I'm always conscious of it, but there's 1,000 things going in my head when I'm like, stare at her, make sure you're listening, remind yourself to listen. He's a master at it.
Yeah, my wife always tells me we go out with people and
I didn't ask for your wife's opinion, this is a different story.
yeah. But, I don't talk a lot when we go out. I listen a lot, and I try to find what drives a person, what motivates people. And, I'm fairly quiet, and I'm somewhat of an introvert, but I love to get out and meet people and share. But, my wife does that for us. But I pick up those little innuendos, and then I make a phone call or an email or a text the next day, and just to kind of follow up with those people. And that's just how I've always done it. I'm not the loudest one in a crowd. I'm usually the quietest one, but I'm listening all the time, and I'm learning, and I remember, and I help use that to attract.
I know we're going to be celebrating you and Jamie at 500, 1,000, 5,000 agents in the future. I'm positive.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Matthew.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with their identity, who they are. If you ask someone directly, who are you, right? They struggle with that question. And I went through some kind of really difficult times in my life not too long ago where I kind of got stripped clean of basically everything but my health. And at the time, my identity was that I'm a good realtor, I'm respected, and whatever. And I'm a born-again believer. I gave my life to Christ. It's no longer my own. So it's a little easier because it's no longer, my identity is that I'm a child of God, that I'm His, I'm bought and paid for. And so I don't look for man's approval anymore. And when that went away, it's very freeing. The fear goes down, and I don't know if you ever get rid of it fully. It's still there, but you push through and so on, it gets easier. But when you train yourself to stop looking for man's approval, and you just answer to one, and at the end I want him to say, well done, good and faithful servant, then I'm good to go. So, and I know my steps are ordered, so I can literally just make the calls, stay in process. I tell my wife all the time, right? Stay in process, don't worry about the result. The results are gonna happen because our steps are already ordered. So it makes it a lot easier. So humans are just humans, whether they're a $100 million producer or a brand new agent, they still put their pants on one leg at a time. They still have a bowel movement, hopefully every day. They still have 3 meals a day. It's real, right? It's real. We're all human beings trying to make it through this world, and you're like, okay, all right. So.
Thank you, Matthew. Let's give it a round for that. Is this good? You guys enjoying this? So let's get into a little meat and potatoes here. Can you provide your favorite conversation opener, icebreaker, and or kind of a rebuttal to something they may start with if it's an objection? Like, what's your favorite way to start opening conversation? Matthew. Recruiting conversation. You've done this 1,000 times. This is a layup question for you, by the way.
Oh, I know. So is it a phone call, basically?
Yeah. So phone call or in person. What's your favorite way to have an icebreaker to an EXP conversation, or to get to a place to where you're just your favorite opening conversation? How do you like starting your opening conversation? I think this will value them when they're struggling for how do I open this dialogue.
Yeah, so one of the things that I identified was who I wanted to reach out to. So I wasn't just reaching out to anybody with a license or could fog a mirror, right? Like, I wanted to reach out to those who were doing 25 units or more, so I kind of know we're on that level, and I know there's similar pain points and so on. And so the conversation typically on the phone, I call them out of the blue, like Michelle here. I'd say, hey, she goes, hello, this is Michelle. And I go, hey, Michelle, this is Matthew Stewart. I'm a broker out in Sacramento. How you doing today? And she goes, oh, I'm doing great. And I go, hey, am I calling you at a good time? Never a bad time, but a good time. Do you have just a minute or two? Always this or that. And she'll probably say, well, I got a minute, right? I'll go, great. Hey, it looks like you're quite a producer out in your market there, Michelle, out in Salem, Oregon, or what have you. Looks like you're crushing it, doing about 35 units a year. You probably know already that that's in the top 3 to 4% of agents nationwide. Were you aware of that? And sometimes they do, well, yeah, I did know that. Or, oh, no, I wasn't aware. I go, I get it. You're just head down on that transactional treadmill, only as good as our last sale, right? I get it. I've been doing this 27 years. I'm a broker, as I told you, and I go into my 30-second story. And then that kind of like they look at it and go, okay, this is kind of an equal. This is somebody that all right, I'll give a little bit of time to. And I've already edified her in regards to how much transactions she's doing. You're crushing it. You're in the top 3%. So she's like, oh, I kind of like this guy. Tell me more, And then we can get into like what her brokerage, those sort of things. And really it's more listening, right? And not having scripts necessarily and a full-on agenda necessarily, other than I want to book an appointment to have more time with her.
Steve, favorite opening conversation or icebreaker to an attraction conversation?
Yep. So I think it really comes down to who you're talking to, where you're at, and for me, I have this model now that I've recently learned called the 2-10-40. So I'm talking to 2 people a day, 10 a week, and 40 a month. And for me, it's real simple. I mean, if it's on the phone, kind of like Matthew, I don't do as much phone work as a lot of these guys do, I think. I do belly to belly. I get out there and I meet people and I get face to face. And one of the first things I do of mine is open houses. I'll go into an open house. If I'm meeting someone for the first time, just introduce myself, ask them a little bit about themselves. And then I kind of get into, hey, how long have you been at Berkshire, and how do you like it there? And would you mind if I asked you just a couple questions? I'm always curious, and I know, believe me, I've researched, what are your fees like there? Do you mind me asking? And I always ask permission. I'm not here to drill anybody. I'm here to make a friend first, and I try to spend, 5 to 7 minutes on, their family, recreational stuff. I play a lot of golf. I play a lot of pickleball. Pickleball is kind of a big thing these days, and I run into a lot of people, and I always try to find something in common first, and then I start to get into, hey, how long have you been at Berkshire Hathaway? Do you mind me asking what your split is there? Do you have a franchise fee? Do you have any transaction fees? And can you... it's amazing because once you kind of get through your first 3, 4, 5 questions with these people, after 5 to 7 minutes, they'll open up and really start telling you what they think of their company. And I've had people that just, oh boy, they throw up all over me. And but that's what you're looking for, and I know usually within about 3 to 5 minutes if this person is a potential referral to our company, and if they're not, I go take a look through the house, and I cut it pretty short, and I'm out the door to the next open house. So that's how I do it. I don't waste a lot of time. I have this saying, it's called next. I learned it a long time ago, and you're next. I'll see you later. And I don't waste much time. And it's really funny because we've had the pleasure and been blessed. We live in the same community as Rob Flick. And I'm learning a lot from him. He's an amazing referring agent, super nice guy, and just as he would help you with anybody, I think so would any of us on the panel here too. So if you ever wanted or needed us, and I do 3-way calls with people all the time to help you with a referral, and I would recommend to do that. If you're new at this, go through your upline, go through your sponsor, go through their sponsor. If your sponsor isn't a referring agent or recruiter, have them help you because I'm really leaning on Randy and Don and all these guys. I bug Brent once in a while too, and they've been awesome. They really help you out. So lean on your upline, but just have fun with it. Don't take it so serious. Make it your hobby. Make it a game, and don't let people back you into a corner, though. Okay, stand strong. If you believe in this company, stand up and let them know, hey, you don't know what this is all about. What do you really know about EXP? And then reel it out, because that's what I do now. I've heard of EXP. Well, what have you heard? Oh, it's kind of like a multi-level. It's kind of like a pyramid. What do you mean it's kind of like a pyramid? They share revenue with you. I mean, give me a break. But does your current company share revenue with you? Most of them don't. So stand strong, just as you do in your real estate business. Don't let people push you around. Stand strong with this.
Okay, we got a question real quick.
If they're interested in talking more, how do you set the appointment?
In the open house. Yeah, so what I do is I don't take too much of their time there, especially if somebody comes in. I just say, hey, would you mind if I follow up with you in a day or two? I'll send you my contact information, and maybe I can take you to coffee, maybe I can take you to lunch. If they golf, I'm at a golf club, I'll bring them out to my golf course, and if I can get 3 or 4 hours with somebody on the golf course, it's pretty much all over because they're asking me questions.
Game over.
Yeah, and one of my last recruits, I think Don's talking to him. I met him up playing golf about a month ago, and he really wasn't that interested. But I'm branded. I have the EXP hats, and he asked me. I kind of look at this as fate a lot. So I don't necessarily really seek people out, but sometimes that's why I join golf foursomes as a single a lot, and I get out there, and almost half the time there's another real estate agent in my group, and I'm wearing my hat, right? And they're asking me questions about it, and if I have 4 hours with somebody, I'm going to recruit them. It just works that way. And because I believe in it, right? I believe in who I and where I am. And if I feel this is the best place to be, they should be there too.
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
This guy's mentioned golf like many times.
Yeah, he has.
I think you may have a good partner.
Steve, don't talk golf with them. Don't talk golf with them. So again, what did you recognize in Steve's language and his attitude and his conviction? Right? How long you been in EXP, Steve?
Just over 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months, 90 days, right? And trust me, they're crushing it. Blake from State Farm, he's crushing it. Andrew, same question. Provide your favorite conversation opener or icebreaker for an agent attraction conversation.
So early on, when I started this, I didn't really have a focus on a very specific agent. And I have become very specific and very intentional with the agents or independent brokers now that I'm looking to attract. I don't use words like upline, downline. I don't refer to any of my business partners in an upline, downline format because that oftentimes can give a perception of a multi-level marketing company. So I utilize my business partners, right? And so being intentional has probably been one of my biggest, for me as of lately, my biggest ahas. And what it allows me to do is know who I'm calling and also do some research on that individual. So recently, I'll kind of just give an example if I may. I had a referral from someone told me that there was a very high producing agent. And I called him, and I didn't really mention EXP at all. I just wanted to find out how he had become so successful. And I basically complimented him on the things that I had heard about him, and I never even mentioned EXP Realty. In that conversation, I had an opportunity to learn about him. I also learned how much he loved and respected the broker that he was with, which was an independent. He gave me a lot of information about the brokerage, told me that he invested in EXP stock, and
Smart.
asked him some questions about if he had been able to invest in it at a 10% discount, if he was 10% positive on his investment,
question.
right? So what I got out of the conversation more than anything is he liked EXP and he loved his broker. So we got off the phone after about 45 minutes, and we did have a follow-up phone call scheduled, but I got on Google and I found out all kinds of information about his broker. And an hour later, I was on the phone with his broker for an hour and a half. And the conversation, I'll say this, I had this gentleman in tears about an hour into the call because I called him and I just started talking to him about his business. And his business was a legacy business. His father owned the brokerage. And he had never had anyone reach out to him and talk to him about help and how to run a brokerage. He was a law enforcement officer, got into the real estate at the age of 19. His father was diagnosed with cancer. His father asked him to not let his business die. He had only sold a few homes. He was in politics. And so by the time we finished talking, we had created a bond over the phone. And we're still very much in communication. So there's some things that I did because he has desires to run for state assembly. I have friends in politics that have been in that position. And so we set up a meeting. It was not about EXP. And so adding value, I feel that adding value to him, to his life, and to show him that the people that I'm affiliated with, my business partners, can help him as well as the people that he serves was a big deal. So I come from a place of coming with sincerity and adding value and really looking and being intentional at who the person that I'm calling is. Which is completely different from when I first started because I was just hoping to talk to anybody that would listen to me about EXP so I could tell them all about EXP because I was in love with EXP and I thought it was a great place to be.
Amir.
I don't do the cold calling. I attract agents on social media, especially LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedIn is the best platform, by the way. If you're not on LinkedIn active, you should probably start soon. And of course, whenever I have transactions, same like Tom did with me, right? So, and my question when I do, my opening line is, when I talk to the agent is always the same. Hey, how's your real estate business? How's your real estate business? And then that's the first question what I ask, and they will start. Either they'll say, sucks, this is not good, or it's great. And then I respond with, because I developed 23 lead generation systems, and I said, hey, do you need more listings? I can help you to get one listing by next week. And by that, but I'm not mentioning EXP at all, like Andrew said. So I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes, like I said before, and I know they wanted more money, more listings, right? So I assume so. Everybody wants more listings, especially last 2 years, because if you have a listing, it's almost guaranteed money in your bank account. And if I could help them to get one more listing, they will be attracted to me. And then we'll talk about EXP. But we will, when I set up a call to talk about 23 lead generation systems, it's always discussion about EXP. Because I spin the conversation to multiple streams of income. Yeah, you need to have 7 multiple streams of income, passive income. How many do you have? 1? 0? Well, let's talk about long-term rentals, short-term rentals, and flips, and buying mobile home parks. And by the way, you can build your passive income, building your team, because there's 3 ways how to get wealthy in this country, in this world. One is to buy. To invest in compounded interest, right? So, but you have to start when you're 18, right? So by the time you're 60, you have money. Second is to build your company. Mark Zuckerberg is wealthy because he built Facebook. And third one, like 9 out of 10 millionaires are in real estate. I can help you with investing in real estate. And by the way, did you know you can build your real estate company even though you're not a real estate agent? And with taking 0 liability and 0 capital expenses. And we start talking about the XP. It's very easy transition.
Thank you. Don, same question. Can you provide a favorite conversation opener or icebreaker into a recruiting conversation?
Yes. So there's just 3 groups of folks that I call. The first one is an icon level producer. So somebody that is doing capping 80,000 GCI plus 20 additional transactions. I consider it financial malpractice on their family to not be at EXP if they are an icon level producer. And when I hear stories like Alma, who's with us here, last year closed 78 transactions.
Yeah. Come on.
Which is amazing, especially since it's in the Bay Area, so that's a very good average sales price. But it's also, I think Alma would tell you, because she was at Realty One doing well, is that it's a very high-speed treadmill ride. And now, having been with us 4 years, she has over $200,000 in EXP stock, doing exactly what she was doing at her prior broker, right? And so it makes it really easy for me to call an Alma and just, first of all, acknowledge her for her tremendous production. She tends to like that, right? And then I would ask her if she's open to hearing more about EXP. And a typical response would be that, well, actually, I know about EXP and I'm happy. And so I would respond in kind by saying, well, that's wonderful. Tell me what it is that you most appreciate about Realty One. Right? And then we'd have a conversation, and I would get to know Alma and why she had made the decisions that she had made. So that's my group 1 is icon level producer. 2 is a person that has proven an ability to have built a sales organization. I'm at a stage now in my business where I want to be not just a leader, but a leader of leaders. And so in order to do that, my best bet is to actually recruit somebody with a proven track record of having led. Except I'm going to give them a bigger platform for which to do that. And of course, I'm going to help them scale and support them in that process. And so I'm really talking to somebody that's already very successful, making a 6-figure income, and I'm going to show them how to make it a 7-figure income and recurring in nature. The third group is independent brokers. And I've owned principal's interests in 30 brokerages, so I'm quite familiar with that model. And it can be good, and it can also be tough. And these days, it's more tough than good. And so I'm able to understand the challenges that they're going through. The margins have just been constricted, so they're tighter and tighter. The broker liability is more than it's ever been. And I do my homework. One of the things that I can tell you is that when you look at the business builders in EXP and you look at the correlation from how many people that they have attracted to how big their organizations are, if you take the top 100 in this company, the correlation is 51-1. Okay, so if they've built a brokerage and they've attracted 20 agents, then they have 20 agents. If they did that same thing at EXP, in 5 to 7 years from doing that, they're going to have 1,020 agents. Okay.
50-1.
So the correlation between the number of people that someone attracts, if they're a business builder, okay, at EXP, they're among the top 100, and actually Randy and Tom and I are all in that group for this calculation, is that you look at, I look at what they've achieved, which is significant in many cases, as their foundation. And so those 20 people are the foundation that they bring into EXP, and then if they will follow our system, that will then translate to 1,020 agents, okay? And no more broker liability, no more capital risk. And if they want to keep going from there, it scales. 3 days ago, I was mountain biking with a guy that has 6,500 agents, AJ Maida. So he's my new hero. How many hours a week do you work, AJ? 10. Right? He has a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old, right? So that's a business that scales. And so that's why I call those people.
I love that. Let's give a round of applause for that. Okay, guys, we're wrapping up this panel, so I want to go rapid fire with you, okay? If you start going off, I'm going to stop you. Okay, I'm not looking at any one of you. I'm looking at all of you. I want to have your objection handler for the following, all right? It's not meant to be a conversation about how cool EXP is, just how you would get over that one objection. I think this would be valuable for them. It's an MLM or a network marketing company, pyramid scheme. I'm not interested.
So if somebody asks me if this is a multi-level marketing organization.
I'm asking you the question, Don.
Rapid fire.
okay.
I heard that this is an MLM pyramid scheme.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, well, that's... All right. Okay.
And go.
So
I don't like this because this is a network marketing pyramid scheme.
Okay. Interesting, Randy, that you would say that. I look at my organization as my sales organization, right? Now, I do revenue share and my people revenue share. If you call that multi-level marketing, I guess it is. But I think that my response would be that be unapologetic, right? And that, I just call it my sales organization.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Amir, this is a pyramid scheme, network marketing, or...
I'm just curious, who are you with right now? What company?
I'm with Century 21.
Century 20. Owner is what, John?
Sorry?
Who is the owner, John?
Say one more time.
Owner of the Century 21 is John, or who owns the company?
Oh, I don't know who owns the company. Yeah,
I
John
think
does.
Yeah. John
does.
it's on top of your pyramid. You on the bottom of your pyramid. You're part of the pyramid already, just you're on the bottom of the pyramid. So everything, it's, and if you...
That's not fair.
Yeah. if you think about everything is pyramid, even our government.
Still like, I'm John?
Yeah. So I would rather own my pyramid instead of being a part of somebody's pyramid. I could own my pyramid. That's why people start businesses. Even the government is pyramid. You have a president all the way down to the city councilors.
Well taken. Well done. Good job. Andrew, hey, EXP is just a pyramid scheme, and it's a MLM, and I'm not interested.
Yeah, Randy, you are currently in an MLM yourself. However, everybody above you is receiving the benefit of it, and nothing's just coming back down to you. So, you have a franchise owner that bought his franchise from a regional owner, that bought his business from the mothership, and every single time that you close a deal, all of your hard work and efforts go to support everybody else, but they're not supporting you.
Got it. Thank you. Good one. Steve, same question. This is just a pyramid scheme, MLM.
So who told you that?
I heard it on TV.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, well...
Somebody came by my door selling me a vacuum, and I was very upset with them.
Yeah. So we all sell real estate. We're real estate brokers. We've been in this business for a long, long time. Nothing happens without us going out and selling real estate, just like you do at your current company. The only difference between your company and your owner and our company and our owner, he shares revenue with us from the profits that he makes. And he splits it 50-50. So
Gotcha.
Choose where you want to work.
Love it. Oh, wow. Snap. All right, Matthew. We've done this many a times. I know where you're at.
So,
Matthew, this is an MLM pyramid scheme. I'm not interested.
Yeah, that's interesting. You're negative on pyramid? Is that right?
100%. They're illegal.
Oh, they're illegal. Okay. Well, a couple things, Randy. First thing on the illegal, are there illegal pyramids on NASDAQ?
I don't know.
Publicly traded?
I stay away from them.
Yeah, I don't think there is, for one. But let me ask you something. Let's kind of put that on the shelf for a second. Do you accept referral fees?
I do.
Do you give referral fees?
Of course, yeah.
Clients
of course.
Out of the area or whatever?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. And you receive money from that and so on, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what if you were to refer an agent to a brokerage? Would it be fair to receive a referral fee for referring an agent to the brokerage?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And what if you actually got paid a referral fee for that agent every time they did a sale and produced revenue to the company? So that actually it was out of the company dollar. You don't take any money from the agent. Would you have a problem receiving revenue, a referral revenue check from the brokerage as a thank you for helping to grow the brokerage?
They do that?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they do it over and over and over and over and over. As long as that agent is producing revenue to the company's going to give you a referral of the revenue.
What do you think about that? All right, we're going to wrap up. I wanted to ask the panel, though, anybody have interest, anybody have any experience with indie brokers specifically? Anybody on the panel have? Don? Okay. So I'd like to ask you a question on indie brokers specifically. There's a new boost program with EXP, and it's a very significant program. We just brought our first team on. 700 agents joined us in New England. 700 agents. They owned dozens, I think over 20 offices. They just came into EXP under the Boost program. Can you talk to us shortly? We're running on the end of the deal here, but can you give us a little info and a little background on your experience with the Boost program and/or specifically with indies? And I know you touched on it earlier, Don.
Yeah, so last year we had 115 independent brokers join us without the Boost program. So that being said, prior to that program, the transition, candidly, has not been easy for them. Okay, and so EXP recognized that it was a financial transition for them, and so they are now providing a cash incentive for independent brokers of 50 agents or more to come. But basically, they're buying their agents and then allowing them to then still retain them at EXP and then scale that sales organization. A value of an agent, a capper, is $8,000, right? So our model...
Say that again.
The value of an agent, a capper, is $8,000. So our model, we have an 80-10-10 model, okay? 80% to the agent, 10% to the company, 10% to the agents growing the company. So that's right. So a cap at EXP is $16,000. Half of that is what EXP considers to be retained revenue, because the other half's going to revenue share. It's going to us, okay? What EXP is now saying is that they will give that broker that joins us 100% of their share for a year to help them make that transition, okay? So if, let's just say that a broker has 30 agents, like Courtney, and 10 of them are cappers, that would be $80,000. And let's say 10 of them are half cappers. That would be another $40,000. So now we're up to 120, right? And then 10 of them are quarter cappers. We'd add another 20,000, right? So 140,000. So that broker would receive $140,000 for coming and joining us. And they get that over 15 months. They get 10% at time of transfer and the balance at 15 months. So that's the Boost program, and it really, well, for one thing, yeah, 50 agents.
50 agents and 175 million in sales.
Is that what it is?
I think it's 175 million in sales and 50 agents, so it's significant. But the cool thing about this is EXP will look at all opportunities, right? If there's a brokerage of 10, I thought it was 100. Thank you. Thank you. It's 100 agents and 175
No, 50
million.
agents, 100 million.
Oh, that's what, okay. Oh, 100 million,
agents,
sorry.
100 million volume.
50 agents, $100 million in sales, all right? But the cool thing is if you get an agency that has 12 agents and they're doing 30 million in sales, they'll talk to them and negotiate the same kind of opportunity. It's just they have to publicly state it in NASDAQ because of this particular program, right? So you could talk to your growth team, you could talk to the leadership team, you could do all that to get to a posture of that. All right, has this been great? Really been helpful? I want to thank the panel. I want to thank the panel for being up here. Thank you very much, everybody. You got, oh, sorry. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And by the way, guys, this is the leadership. These are the people that are doing it. When you see them out in the hallways, when you see them at dinner, these are the ones you want to sit at the table with, right? So again, thank you everybody for being up here. I appreciate you very much.